Another mind wipe issue? Really? Welcome to 5 Minutes of X, where joining the team isn't really optional and getting mind wiped apparently isn't either. Welcome back to 5 Minutes of X. Today we're diving into X-Men number 3, originally published on November 5th, 1963. It was written by Stan Lee and art by Jack Kirby. Let's kick this off with today's spotlight, the villain of today's issue, the Blob. That's right, Frederick Duke's the Blob makes his first appearance here. His powers? He's immovable when he wants to be. He absorbs projectiles into his dense body fat, and his skin is basically armor. A typical Silver Age baddie. Silly, a little gross, but undeniably memorable. Over time, Blob evolves into more than just a punchline, though. In the Age of X era, he had a relationship with Psylocke, and on Krakoa, he traded villainy for tiki vibes as the bartender at the island's tropical hangout. These days, he's less of a villain and more of a character. The dumb fat hick stereotype, it doesn't really vibe with the tone of modern X books, and I think he's used less often as a villain because of it. Probably a good choice. We open today's issue in the Danger Room with the team training against sawdust-filled bags. Weirdly specific. I would just wonder if Jack drew them brown and then Stan had some sort of sawdust incident in the past that goes unresolved. It's unknown. Cyclops is already deep in his feelings, though. He's worried about hurting someone with his optic blasts. This is our first big glimpse of Scott's brooding leadership arc, and it's also the beginning of the "I love Jean, but my powers are too dangerous" motif that will repeat endlessly. Meanwhile, the professor senses a mutant presence and sends the team to New York in civilian clothes to investigate. Before we find the actual mutant, there are some goofy fake-outs. One guy lighting leaves on fire with a magnifying glass, another seemingly floated while hanging a sign in the air against a building. This is classic Marvel misdirection. Eventually, we meet the Blob at a carnival, introduced by a carnival barker and already showing off his powers for the crowd. It's a great in-universe way to establish his mutant status. There's something meta here, too. Blob's carnival act is literally the mutant experience commodified for public entertainment. He's a freak show attraction, and everyone's in on the joke except for him. It's a pattern we'll see over and over again in X-Men stories. Mutants are tolerated as curiosities or novelties, something to gawk at, maybe exploit, until the moment they're seen as dangerous. Then it's fear and panic, and usually a sentinel or two. Blob's debut is basically a warm-up act for the mutant metaphor. First they laugh, then they hunt. After the show, the X-Men approach the Blob, and let's just say nobody really handles it well. The X-Men act super superior, the Blob acts defensive, and it all escalates really quickly. Jean talks the Blob into visiting the X-Mansion, though, and Professor X confirms he's a mutant, but when the Blob declines the offer to join the X-Men, Professor X takes it personally. Blob goes back to the carnival, but now with like a new sense of purpose and the knowledge of where the X-Men live and who they are. He takes over the carnival and rallies the carnies, and they just storm the X-Mansion. The climax of this issue, Professor X wipes Blob's memory. Again, this is the third mind wipe in 3 issues. The ethics of Charles Xavier are already looking so murky, and we're just getting started. It's wild how casual it is. Every time he does this, he doesn't even hesitate. He just zaps Blob's brain like he's changing a channel. You almost get the sense that if a waiter brought Professor X the wrong sandwich, he'd be like, "You will remember taking my order correctly." I get that it's like a plot device, but man, it's aging badly and fast. This issue is fast-paced and packed with action. It introduces a fun and ultimately mid-tier villain, and finally trims some of the padding we've seen in the first 2 issues. The showdown with Blob is really dynamic. It does drag a bit, but it's super fun to read through. And honestly, Xavier erasing someone's memory again, while it does feel stale, it does make sense for the story that they're trying to tell. That said, it's a solid Silver Age tale with a few good laughs and a growing sense of what this book will eventually become. I'm also happy to see some of the long-running character traits starting to poke through. Here it's only Scott, but it's nice to see. You've survived another session in the Danger Room. For more character info, reading lists, and whatever other nerdy projects I'm tangled up in, head over to Jordy.com. New episodes drop Wednesday at noon and Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern. Remember, just because someone's a mutant doesn't mean they want to join your weird school.